CPI day. Let's put the alerts in here. Let's go with the NQ levels. Just going through my levels, reviewing for yesterday. So NASDAQ yesterday's high 16,983. Yesterday's 801. Overnight high is, I'm gonna guess it's that wick there from the CPI. Yep, overnight high here, bang, 17,057. That's yesterday, prior to the close. Yep, so low is 16,892.25. Settlement was 94525. So we're pretty much right near settlement. CPI data coming in higher than expected. I know that my chart normally shows low and high, but I add these because as the day goes on, if it changes, then I change it. All right. Let's see here. That key level yesterday. Here, the plan yesterday of that long from the bottom. That was through the overnight low and rotate back to the overnight high. Played out pretty nicely. We rallied even further, came back down through, sat above VWAP, pretty much pushed up all night in anticipation for the CPI number. You got that push up and back down. This is probably going to be a key zone, that 17,000 and above. This move is sort of relevant. It'll give us a clue of what price will want to do, but I don't see why it wouldn't just kind of keep grinding up just based on everything. The CPI number we discussed yesterday, when the CPI number comes out hot, it gives that Fed Watch tool less of a chance of a rate cut come tomorrow. Come May. Gonna open below VWAP likely. CPI came out hot, so if we do recover and come into that overnight high and flush that a little bit, then maybe we can look to get a rollover short. This next 30 minute since 7:30, so the 8 o'clock 30-minute candle is the 8 o'clock 30-minute is above that 969 level, pushing back to here. 991 could be a good chance that it gets back to the base of that breakdown from the CPI, that 17,000 level. So it's kind of what I look at pre-market, especially on CPI days. I want to see what the market decides over there first little while. Right, we're gonna get that opening range. These will go away. They'll move over here. I'm sorry, you can't see that. This opening range here, it'll move to the new opening range, and then we'll kind of play it out from there. Tough night last night. Son had a fever, so we were working on getting him healthy and staying awake. I see you. Ding, 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 26. Okay, yeah, so we're pushing above UM now. Like I said, I don't do anything pre-market. Some people do. If it gets to their levels, they don't care what time it is. They're just going to short it. They're just going to take longs. It really doesn't matter. See what this looks like. Okay, here are my zones. If we look at the idea from last week, right? We got that all-time high. We sold off. We had the institutional people just not playing along with the longs until we got back down below 2021 levels. We're pushing back above those. Rotate back down, retest it, get more liquidity, get above the July highs, and then work on back up. We are right at the open of, so this is Monday. We didn't trade on Monday, so Tuesday. We cleared that high of the start of the selling, like the actual convicted start of the selling after the new year from this zone. So this zone is going to be a pretty important level because that high here prior to the CPI where we wicked up and above, that was an important spot, right? That's really a key level. You can see it. We pushed up. This is where we came back, retested it twice, and then rolled back over. Today, prior to CPI, we pushed right to it, tickled above it, and then we wicked it with that number, came in hot, and then melted off. The sales came in. We could see something happen in between here. If we do get an acceptance below here and rotate back down to yesterday or the Wednesday middle of the day, I don't know if we'll get a full-fledged big sell-off. Like I said, I don't think that even though the pricing in of rate cuts in May was a thing, we still need to think that they're pricing that in further. Let's see if it changed. Refresh. After today's CPI data, the January is 97% as a hold, and we didn't change at all as far as the thought processes on people thinking 65%-ish people still thinking that there's going to be some sort of cut in May. So, March. And then May, definitely, there's a much higher chance. But some of us don't believe it until it actually happens. So we're pushing back up above. Don't be surprised if we wick that high again. We are now open, so let's see what happens. Let's see.
Is it just a small way?
I don't see anything that I want to take. Obviously, being bullish like that, right off the jump is interesting. Okay, pushed above that 17,000 level. Opening range has now been established. It is 104 ticks, 103 ticks. It's a difficult opening range trade to kind of take, especially CPI day. The S&P 30-minute candle, obviously it's only 1 minute deep, but it's having a hard time around that 27 level. If you could look at it here, now it's kind of fluttering around this level there. And then the NASDAQ, this is that 30-minute. We pushed right back above that 17,000, the base of where the breakdown really kind of, I'm sure, pushed off. I didn't watch the CPI price do its dance, but that's probably what it was, where it pushed back into here. I'm not going to be surprised if it does clear this high, but you're going to need some confluence between this S&P and this is pretty strong, this 30-minute, right? You can see the comparative where the S&P has a stronger the NASDAQ's 30-minute is looking to push and break above this high already, and then the S&Ps now are pushing down. So there is a divergence between the two. Let's see which one's leading. I'm going to keep watching the NASDAQ because that's what I trade. Yesterday we had a pretty decent call out. We called the very bottom of the day. So today we're looking to just catch that good move again. I don't have conviction on any moves yet because of the CPI data. We are in the middle of a range, even though I am at a pretty key zone, and it sold off pretty hard from there, which is pretty nice. It's nice to see that level actually worked out pretty reactively. I don't just draw my zones just to draw them. They are pretty important areas of reaction. See if there's anything from yesterday that I don't have on here that's kind of important. Not really. As far as overnights is concerned, it kind of just ground up. Obviously, with the number coming, maybe that's 965 level. And then we're touching VWAP, and it's holding it as support. Again, a lot of people use VWAP here, this yellow line, as an entry point. I don't use it as an entry. It's more of a confluence to, if it stays above, there's a good chance that we're going to keep pushing up. If it holds below it, then we might be rolling back down. I do use it as a target, though. Not that I don't short from above. I do. And like yesterday, I went long from the bottom, and my target was VWAP, which I caught to that, and then it ran through it. So if I'm going to short from above the wick of the CPI candle, then I will take that down to VWAP. That would be my target. Looking at the tilt, I have 61% longs at 990, so they're in the money off that VWAP. We're literally still within the same 1 minute opening range, so not a lot of information there yet. It's not super wide, but it's also not tight enough where you could take for me personally, I'm not taking that risk from bottom to top. So I'm going to look for better entries for something. Yeah. Tired day. No coffee yet. Not a good start. Need that coffee. Okay, so we did break out on that, and we got a good push on cumulative delta. So this is a congruent move. It wants to move up. The 30 minutes moving up nice, obviously because it's the same candle, but the S&Ps are now also congruent. Right, it's pushing up just the same as the NASDAQ. So if you're going to take a leader lagger kind of trade, like a lot of people do, watch for NASDAQ movement to pull the S&Ps with it. want to clear out that overnight high and then make a choice because we're in the middle of this rain, right? Range.
Okay, so what did I see on the dome for what's next?
All right. Patience is going to pay in this CPI data coming in hot. Like I said, furthers the Fed's choice to likely hold rates, or if other numbers come in that are hotter, I mean, I don't expect them to raise anymore, but they don't have to cut as much as they said that they were going to cut. If they do, then the market will continue to rally. Like yesterday I said, every meeting it is anticipated of some sort of cut, right, moving forward. So if it doesn't happen in March, expect a little bit of a sell-off like we got with this CPI data, but then just another push back up until they decide about the next one, right? So you're going to just consistently have to react to the data that is provided by the powers that be. We didn't quite get to the high, so I'm still waiting patiently.
Hello, sir.
Patience is what pays in this game. We are getting a pretty good delta push down here. We're losing interest in that buying at the highs here. So if I do get this next push, if it clears out that high, if it's a liquidity grab, then that's where I look for my shorts to rotate back down to the VWAP. Mm-hmm. Today, not a lot of like exciting. Even for like a news day, for a CPI day, this is a pretty important day as far as information is concerned. This is something that everybody looks at. So they're looking at these numbers. They want to see them. They want everything to move. But then after you get it, things are whippy and then they just settle in. So it's been directional to the upside all week. Can we change that? Just based on that news? Maybe. Will we have an inside day or a range bound day because of it? Then maybe, right? If then the markets are going to digest it and rotate back and forth. For yesterday's overnight high, I mean yesterday's high and lows, right? We got 812 ish. I have them written down. The highs and lows. The high was 983 and the low was 801. But if I use that 12 level and I use the close at 957 at 801, I don't think that's actually the wrong number. So 982, 983, yeah, 983. Then 957 was the close and settlement was 945, right where my mouse is. If you're a bull and you're looking to get long, these pullbacks are always an interesting spot, right? From all this inventory yesterday.
I'm seeing POC at 17,004. Is that what everybody else is seeing, that point of control?
Mm-hmm.
You see that in the DAS?
Are you talking about the eight?
17,004.
Yeah, that's today's volume and control, correct.
So maybe we see buyers on the other sides of that, or
Just trying to be patient here. I'm not trying to give back anything on a CPI day, but also at the same time, I'm trying to. I need to catch that move here.
I think I'm waiting for the
I like that liquidity that it's up here. It wants to do something. It feels like it's speeding up a bit. I wanted to see this liquidity get kind of pulled though. I want a whippy kind of grab action, and I do want it above the overnight high. Previous overnight high is that 17,045 level that I had drawn up already, and then obviously the top of the CPI data. It doesn't necessarily have to clear out that data, but it is a weak high. It left single prints, I'm sure, up there, which is something that the market doesn't like to do. It likes to be efficient. It likes to clean up some of these orders, especially if it didn't just continue to flush. So you could also see that if it doesn't just wick it and then kind of fade off and pull back down, and you don't get a delta divergence, then you might still see this thing continue to rally and rally and rally and rally. Okay, so I did get a delta divergence. I didn't quite get up to the level that I wanted to, but if a sell-off happens here and I missed it, that's fine with me. I don't like to chase those. I like I said, this is a good zone for me, but I didn't get the full confluence, and I'm looking for A+ trades this week. I mean, every week I'm looking for A+ trades, but I didn't get it. And if it does roll over from here, then good. Then maybe if I get a pullback, if it holds VWAP and then pulls back into that zone, then maybe we'll look to short back down through 17,000. But that's still kind of middle of the zone for me. So this the bottom half here, 994, 991, 994, 991. That's the bottom of that little overnight chop where there was some sort of inventory indecision. Looking for VWAP again. We're gonna 991, there it is, and popping a little bit off there. Not hard though. 30-minute looks pretty whippy to the high. Let's see if I can see the. There it is, 30 minutes. That 30-minute long tail candle, very, very sellish, bearish. Not sure what's going to happen. I don't like to chase. I want one more push up. Maybe if we could get that, like I said, since we did kind of flush a little bit of that overnight little base here, and we didn't get a straight sell off, doesn't tell me that there's a lot of either stops or anything down there. It didn't get very whippy. It's orderly pushing down. It's holding VWAP. Now we're gonna see if it'll hold the VWAP or if it'll push below and then come back and then retest it. I think we're gonna probably get another push to the upside here before we do get another move down. That's a good chance, but not a good enough chance for me to take a long, to take it above here, to go short. Get up.
Alright, I'm long at this VWAP, but
Were you trading NASDAQ or S&Ps?
NASDAQ. Big fan of the NASDAQ.
If I could rotate it from that to this zone at least, you're looking at a 1,500 profit on. I would only risk just above. I would only want to risk like about 200, which would be right here, above the 20s. So I want to see something like a wick above 23, but it's gonna run away without me. That's what it seems. So now we're below VWAP. Where that long tail of that 30-minute candle is still holding up. We got 15 more minutes in it though, so this could be the bottom of this 30-minute that wants to snap back. like that short at the top. I just needed that one more push to the upside before I wanted to sell it, because a lot of times this first or second push, it likes to do one more to get those stops out, but maybe not today. We did get just above that just before the release candle, so maybe that was all they needed. Like I said, markets could do whatever they want whenever they want. It's just up to you to kind of time it right and catch a little piece of it.
What's that weekly kickoff?
I am still flat. Still flat. And that 30-minute, like I said, it used 69 as a very key level, and now it's holding above it. So we're just holding. Just sitting on my hands.
You know, I'm gonna ask you, no numbers there for today. Well, we got some juice, we got some meat on the bone, we got lots going on here. Early this morning, we had a lot of important news, of course, let's see, John, there's natural gas coming up here, we do.
Anybody seeing anything that they want to take? I don't have anything. I would like to have had that short from the top, obviously. An entry below here at 23. 2 view up is 740, and then back down to the bottom is pretty good move. That's a pretty good risk to reward there. I just didn't trust this overnight high being so close and not getting tickled, at least. Now, realistically, if this does reject and then accept back above VWAP and above the 985-ish, which is VWAP, so if it accepts right above here and starts to rotate back up, you're going to need to see that rejection again before you want to take that short. So look for something to push up above the 23s, either grab some liquidity or even push up even higher, then look to take the short down. Moving further down, if we crack that CPI low, then we could flush down again, but we need to look for some sort of confluence, right? Currently, it's a steady sell with the delta pushing. There's steady sell. Data's pushing in. We're in the middle of a range. The value area low currently is only at 47, so there's a good chance it's just going to touch that off, and then we're going to keep moving lower.
All right, so I think
Yeah.
we're about to see
I do like
tilt action.
this short.
The NAS, it's up at 72. And so now we want to look
So reasonably looking at my my thesis for what was going to happen today, could we have chased this and it worked? Obviously, right? It worked. So we could have got short from this pullback to 23 and the failure of it, right? Obviously that works for me, but I didn't get a full confluence. You got a slight divergence, right? Because you made this new high, you made a good high on the delta. You pushed back down, and then you tried to push back up, and the delta came nowhere near even this previous one, right? So you knew that there was at least sellers coming in. That gave you that confidence. I didn't get anything extra tilty long. Didn't see a lot of buyers, and like I said, I don't trust it with the way how the market's been bid up all week, and how it's cleared out these overnight highs. If they're close, that I needed that one more push, so I didn't take that because of that last little bit of confluence. If I missed it, I missed it. There's always going to be another trade here. If it just goes straight down for the rest of the day, then we missed out on it, but we can't be mad about it. We got to just kind of go through it and see if we could find an entry to catch that trend for the rest of the day, or a piece of it,
it reversed immediately back down into the range and has continued short.
Yes, and because we opened outside range of value and now we're back inside value.
Yesterday's
So this is
levels.
we talked about this
Right,
and
we're gonna go to the value areas.
the gap. Now we're back inside.
This
value.
is yesterday's value. Point of control was down here at 865. So we could come down and check that 865 level at least if we're gonna continue to push down. So there's gonna be some stops run definitely below the low of the day. What did I say it was 685? Nope, that's not what I want to see. Oh, sneak peek. 686, 660. I mean 860. 860 in this area, right? So I have this zone on here as well. This would be the point of control from yesterday. Right there, point of control from yesterday. And then you had yesterday's close, which we flushed already. And we're bouncing exactly off that 926 level that we rejected yesterday. Rejected, and then blasted through. So look for this to be a key line in the sand as well. Right here was important. Obviously here it had a little reaction, but look at that. To the tick, and then we bounced. So there is still some action at this level. So if we do get a flush of this point, that might be where we're able to roll because it's breaking that zone, right? You get here, you reject it, you come back to it, you break down, then you roll over. If we can get a similar look, right, where you come down, bounce, and then roll through it, and then a little bit better of a push down. Like, it can't be just here, and then flush. I mean, that's good, but that's not an entry for me. Especially with Delta being up a little bit. You could probably wait for this 30-minute candle to close before we even make any decisions as well. It's not looking very strong. It's still very weak. S&P is very weak. This is the S&Ps. You can see it pushing down. It's sitting inside that previous 30, except for the top end. The body of it's inside of it. And then there's the NASDAQ. It's starting to get a little quick. It's sitting in the middle of that previous bar, 50% through it at least, a little bit more. So a lot of people do take that as a long position as well, but that's not something I'm looking at right now. This is a heavy market.
We'll hear about it at Solar Tap today, guys. Tune in to Solar Tap. Tune in all day. All day.
Especially today.
We get some big ones, right? You want the L?
Yeah, B2B.
No, baby. We're gonna start rewarding those.
61, 38.
Doesn't mean you have to
Tilt is short 61% at 951. So they're still getting short at these lows. But not super heavy tilty, so it is still like a majority pays today at this point. We got a delta divergence here. We're at a key level. Could you get a bounce to VWAP? Possibly. 855. So hard to fight a move like this though. But that could be a good entry criteria there. Delta divergence, key level. Just take that quick reversion back to the VWAP. If that's something that you're looking at. If you're a long bias trader. I'd like to see a wick of it though. Like kind of how yesterday where I took that sweep of the overnight low. This is a similar setup as where we're getting here, and then you get that one more sweep down and then a pop right back above, and then I got that entry and took it to the VWAP. That's something that I could look for here as well. So I'm kind of not convinced in the short just based on the delta divergence.
I think this battleground at the 4812 in the ES, I think they're trying to hold it. They're sort of making about a 5.
This 30-minute closes in 4 minutes and a half.
There's a lot of selling just above it, so
There's that little bit of a pop. Starting to get more delta in. Buyers are coming in. You didn't have super heavy tilty that I saw. I do like a long here, but I need that liquidity flush below this low. Get some of those stops out that just got involved in the long, which would be nice, and then kind of take that first target to VWAP, second target to the high of the day, and then look for a short at that point. For days like today or days like yesterday, I add that extra layer of confidence for these trades. I need that flush. I need a reason for it to say, oh, we're going to manipulate some people in and then get them out and go long. That's the kind of thing I would need. It's at the high. I need it to be at a key level. I need to wick it. This was a good wick, and then this was a good entry for obviously in hindsight. However, just not there. For me, this candle, right, if this now flushes and pops and then holds back above 926, getting long above the value area and up to VWAP makes sense to me. Even though it's a heavier short kind of day with the CPI data and everything like that. I think that's already been digested. We didn't clean it up, though. We've been inside of that CPI data. This is the CPI data. Right? The entire day so far, we've stuck inside of it. So if this rallies from here, I missed it, but because I have that final confluence in that trade there. Look for that last little bit that's going to tell you, okay, I could limit my risk here. If I get stopped out, at least I had a good thesis on it. And you could kind of mitigate where you want to put your stops, right? But right now, like if it just kind of does this and then grinds up, that's not an entry. That's not something that I'm looking for. I want some sort of convincing move just like yesterday. If it does flush and hold though, right? You flush and hold down below and then roll over, then that's a good short. So we have both directions sort of covered here. I just am not convinced about the long. We're still getting that divergence of buying on that delta.
Your friend Fred commented here. Look at the S&P. The market's trading balance inside prior day's range. I'm thinking I should let the initial balance set up and then watch for extremes.
Come on, do something. Look at this sitting there. Sitting there. Not much to do when it does things like this. Sit here, cross my hands, put my feet up. I was up all night, sorry. So I'm really trying to fight the tired, the no coffee. I didn't get a chance to bring my son to school because he stayed home because he's sick. Fun day, fun night. So I'm trying to make good decisions still based on some tiredness. For many people, I tried to come on just to, especially to keep consistent, make sure that I'm streaming every day like I said I was going to do, and then also at the same time show there are different variances in your emotional mood, and you can recognize it, or your mental clarity or anything, and talking about recording your sessions and stuff like that. Talking out that feeling also helps.
Everybody's fighting right there, so it's probably a do or die. Yeah, in terms of that for them. If they lose that, then I think we see that long tilt slip back into the
My entry would be here, looking for that, and then beyond. It's just still kind of grinding to that upside there. If we tickle the VWAP on a grind like this, if I did get in on that entry before the whip, you're still in the money pretty okay here. It's just not something that looks appealing to me as far as trades are concerned. We're rising wedge, potentially looking for that next leg to the downside. We got this leg here was about 100, 400 ticks. It was 100 points. No, yeah, 100 points. So you're looking for another similar move here.
How's that
Right down to that.
How's our chat doing?
Equal move.
We did a poll here today. In this market rodeo, how many am I down?
The new 30-minute is about 1 minute deep, and it's sitting inside, still pushing to the downside. S&P is also looking like a down push. We're sitting on this now. So now it's not really quite the same deal of a setup as if it were to have come here and then this next touch and then wicked it. But if we do get that wick off and then reacceptance above 26, look to possibly rotate back. Just because it's not that it's the flush is not good, it's that pull through, liquidity grab, and then hold above. That's what you're looking for. You want to kind of flush these lows, grab a bunch of these stops, and then pop above.
There we go. There is our rodeo poll.
So there's a push. Let's see if it flushes.
Thank you, Robbie.
26. I want to flush the 26.75. That's the key line in the sand. If it holds it, great. And if it runs up, not sad about it. The way to keep your money and execute only on trades that are really worth your while is to wait for that final little piece of your confluence to set up.
Worthwhile, and then it slows down, and then
Delta's pushing down though. We're getting a good delta push with this push down. So, but if we don't really quite make new lows with the delta, there's still not a lot of new selling going on down there. Or participants that are getting short. So get that whip and then not really push the delta down and then come back up and reaccept. That's where I want to see.
Right, now back to
945.
with no tilt, there's nothing.
Not much there. And then look at this. Not really a divergence, right? Because we made new lows and we're pretty close to making new lows there. And then now we have pretty much, there we go. So there's the break on the delta. So now if we do get this break and then a hold here, this is where the shorts will look to get short. I think that's more likely than the long coming into play. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to sweep totally the low now at this point and pop. It might.
It's a prior low,
It might. We might get it.
shorts are piling right up.
The floor is low, but liquidity down a little.
I just trimmed my losses by half there. I'm flat now. Just getting back to like baseline here. I'm down 379.
This is just in case. I don't believe that necessarily will happen, but that's my entry there, is that above that 37 zone. But this is a strong push. We got confluences to the downside. This isn't a whip candle that is wicking out, but I'm going to watch this bottom here too. And then obviously the low, which is not there. It's there. Okay, we're not doing that. That's not going to happen now, right? You saw how I could see this is more of a convincing sell than it is a grab the liquidity and run, right? So this is speeding up to the downside, adding shorts seemingly. The delta's adding shorts. We can still could see this is pushing. The tilt is short-ish. You know, it was at, I think I just saw 70%, but this delta doesn't tell me anything, right? Now we've swept that low. We're down there, but the 45s, the 55s down here, that's really where you're going to look to see more of a reaction, because that's from yesterday's point of control. Yesterday's point of control is there at 57s. I don't know if this is a trap or not. Don't like when I move levels. Not much going on for me. I did have that short idea from the top, and I just didn't have that one extra little layer. I would love that rotate. I always love that beautiful overnight rotation from high to low, clearing out both sides before making the decision. That's a great move. Didn't get it, so we're here looking for the next opportunity to get it.
2.5 standard deviations from the VWAP.
That's a good sell-off. Really could have took this here with that confluence of the delta making that new low and pushing. That's a momentum breakdown. I'm not chasing it though.
Hey, where's your timber?
Like I'm trying to say with this week, with talking out a lot of the trades, I've talked myself out of a lot of things that I would have normally got into. Yes, they were winners, but realistically, they weren't top A+ setups for me. So there's no reason to be upset. There's no FOMO on this. I don't care. I actually don't even care what the market does until I can see something that I can capitalize on. That's all that matters, right? I'm just looking at yesterday's levels a bit and the day before. So yesterday and the day before. If we step back into the day before, we do have down to 812s. That's where I got my entry yesterday for the long. That could possibly be another long there, but this is probably the close your eyes and sell kind of day because the S&Ps are melting as well. 30-minute candle, we're at the top there at 43. We ran right through that point of control. Boom. There was that point of control from yesterday. The bottom of the rotation to the full 817 for the full value area. And then the top of the value from the day before is 811. So that 812 level is important too. Could do this. Looking at doing something when nothing's happening. For me, there's sales happening. If you can obviously look at the screen with your eyes, you can see it. I am not chasing a falling knife. I'm also not trying to reverse it right away. So this is where I said, right, equal measured move. That was at 100 ticks. 437 ticks. This is 473 ticks. So there's your move, base, move, equal, measured. Now you got to look for the delta divergence. Now you got to look for the tilt. Now you got to look for stuff. That's what's going to tell you, hey, maybe now this will be, since we flushed it, got some shorts involved, we can rotate back up to view up and then sell again. So it is a short style day, but I do like to do that return to the mean.
Not being on the right side of the market on a day when the market's moving. I'm gonna have a gig for the year. Well, I'm sorry. I'm smidge away from
Nothing else to do for me. Still shorts. Now we're building that delta divergence again, right? Making new lows, not making new lows on the delta. If you re-accept above the previous day's point of control, there's a chance that this divergence helps you take that long back through and up, and at least you catch a little piece of it, right? This tells me that there's not a lot of new buyers that are at least sizable. New sellers. I'm sorry. Made that new low, pushing here. If you push the highs are there, then maybe you look to catch that quick little pop. But it's such a heavy market that I don't want to run in front of it.
believe that air.
812. 812 is the number that we're looking at. 812 and then down to 806. What's the risk there? 500. 320. Yeah. That's now the delta is getting back to being even, right? We're looking to push the lows. This is pushing the lows. 812. Let's see what happens there. Really should have looked for the short. Take this one. because it was say I was looking for the target at VWAP. This was my entry at this 23 point. We got the flush, we got the VWAP, right? Then we say, okay, is it gonna possibly flush it? So okay, now it flushed it. My stop would have been just above here, like it was yesterday, and it didn't get touched, right? So I would have had secured there. That's 705. Then you're just letting it move. You still didn't get stopped out. You still didn't get stopped out. Once you get this kind of basing pattern, like I was looking for, possibly looking for that flush. If you get the flush, you move your stop to here. Then you get the breakdown at this level, move my stop to there. So, you know, reasonably, if you do take that entry, I'm probably not stopped out yet. And that's a hell of a day, right? You move it to the overnight low, and then you just start trailing candle to candle. You know, maybe I get stopped out down here. But that's just hindsight being 2020. I like this divergence. I like this here. Quick move back.
That's how I am. I've always been that way.
If we can get a tilt reading, short, long. I do like it above 63 here. I like this. I don't think I should, but I do like it. Talking myself into it. I'm gonna go one buy here.
We got Coach Vince with us here. We got Deanna who's joining us here.
Hey guys.
Community.
And that was a terrible entry, but let's see what happens.
It's like her birthday. Must be her birthday.
This is why we don't jump in front of a falling knife, right? And then you're out. So we're down about 280 there. Looking for one more trade to try and clean that up, but not really trying to force it. That was a delta divergence, push back up. I caught the entry a bit high and got top ticked to go in. I may look for one more entry on this just because of the same deal, delta divergence, pushing up, but I might keep it tighter. Oops.
Had their lunch money taken, and now they're saying, "Oh my gosh, I gotta get some of this back." Or
No, it's tilted a little bit long, so I don't like that. So 60-ish% long here. People looking to get long at this point, so maybe it could be that revert and then just get down to 812. This level here.
so they're just betting big and running with the thing. Here's another big thing.
812. So if we get that push again, I bet that's going to be the run when I would have got my fill. Nope. Yeah, I lost one just now. Alrighty, so let's see what happens with this level here.
As it moves closer and closer, the deal
No way.
a little bit more.
Well, and we lost the deal what?
The dealers
I'm going short. Taking this short here. I think that it's heavy tilted long. I think we could get down to 812 at least. I think people are trying to catch the bottom, and I want to flush the bottom one more time before we catch it long. So I'm going to catch it really. I'm going to even put a take profit down here at 12. If it does take it, I would like to get filled fully, quick, get out. But I'm going to also trail it sort of tight. I want this delta. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to put this here. I'm going to put this here, and if I can get it there, I'm going to trail it real tight, real fast. Right. So there we go. There's that flush to the bottom half. I want this to keep going, keep going, keep going, push. I'm holding. Delta's pushing down. Now we got a little whip there. That was not cool. Not happy with that, but hey, maybe that'll keep us in. Nope. That's going to get us out, isn't it? No, there's Delta pushing up now. Damn. All right, we're still good. Still holding. we're speeding up at this level. So this is definitely a key level here. I want to see this thing flush. One more hard flush below the low before it does take us to the highs. But we can see this now get stopped. We are speeding up a lot. Let me see what this is. We're long 57% on tilt, so I'm hoping that that's just going to get us one more push to the downside. Downside push. A lot of people are trying to get long here, and I think that that's the easier trade. So I think that the harder trade is to keep this trend going. We've been in a trendy week where a trend keeps continuing, so I'm looking to catch that one more push to the downside, which looks like I'm not quite getting. There we go. Flush it. Flush it. Come on. This is the level here. 840-ish. It is sitting on that level, man. Come on. Push it. Push it down.
Yes, indeed.
Nope. It's holding hard, man. Damn. It wants to hold. Alright. We are out. Here. I'm not trying to play that game. Down 530. Wonderful. Alright. We're not going to FOMO into another one here. We're going to wait for another better setup. Taking two kind of crappy trades there. Not that they weren't what I wanted, but it's just this point where it's that divergence for the long was there, and then the tilt was there for the short, the volume nodes. I'm gonna look for one more better setup. It's gonna be somewhere in a better zone that I like. We are pushing back up with Delta. I'm gonna watch the tilt a bit more. I love that first trade there that I didn't end up taking. See, this is the trying to avoid tilt mode, right? Still up a whole $60 on the week. So you're not trying to give it all back, everything that you made. There's so much, yeah, like you said, there's so much volume here. Absolutely. Liquidity zone. If I can get something to push back and then maybe hold the 73 and then push again back above the overnight low, the CPI low, then you may get that reacceptance and rotate back above. So that's something I'll look for. But we're going to kind of wait and see, right? This is exactly what I was looking for the long, right? And it's probably going to play out now that I kind of flipped short. You got the flush of the zone. You got this big wick down. You got the delta divergence. I got in long here because I expected that to be the first move and be up. And we rotated back down, stopped it out again. Really, the theory is if I wanted to take this entry, you take this entry above 52, the reacceptance in the zone, and then have stops below the low. Would have never been stopped out. And I mean, the full risk there, though, is basically what I've lost already. So, right, by flip-flopping and taking two, you make the loss bigger, and you never would have been stopped out at this point, and you'd been up 1-to-1 already, and then securing some profits, right? So this is just a bit of impatience if you're just watching, that's seeing it real time. So now we're going to get that push up. Now I don't have my entry. Now I'm down. So you don't want to be chasing too much of this. I'm going to work to grind back to even for the day. That's the best hope. And then look to keep going from there. Don't want to overtrade. Don't want to take 10, 15 trades in a day. But I do want to make sure that I am executing high quality setups because that's what pays, right? We are coming back into the bottom of that zone, the bottom of the CPI zone. We're looking at a downtrending day, so who knows what happens here. That 30-minute candle on the S&Ps the NASDAQ right there. You can see that long bottoming tail. When we were at the top, I talked about that long upper wick, getting that sell-off. That happened pretty good. This 30-minute got that long bottom wick, so could we rotate back up? possibly. We got that same deal here. We came right down to 790 on the S&Ps. That level held, and now we're pushing back to the upside. It's potentially that this could continue, both of them, if it has to hold below here, below that overnight low. Okay, let's see if we can. What's the tilt at? It's long, 67%. If I can get one more flush above the CPI number, I might go short one time. Only with a divergence.
I'm up 745.
I should borrow Zuckerberg's daughter's shovel right there because I've been digging my whole self out of board. Keep there to revive it.
All right, so we're getting pushed up, but that's also congruent. Delta is the same.
You guys ever heard?
See if it accepts above it, or if we get some sort of manipulation there.
Yeah, honey.
Tilt. I would love to have a live tilt. I need to get top stack X back, so I can just for that. I would pay for that. I do like that tilt meter. We're getting that good push. So my entry for that first idea, right? Push down, second push down, delta divergence, and then we wanted to get that rotation back to the upside. I entered. I got tickled in. Stopped myself out with a tight stop because I'm not trying to go crazy. Really, how my entry should have been was above this candle here, and then the stop should have been below the low. It's a bigger risk, but it's a bigger reward, right? Obviously, for that kind of reversal play. If we get similar to yesterday. We're looking to push up still some more. Day is not done. We are going to keep watching this. I want one more little flicker above that. Even up into here would be nice. 904.
Remember, you only have 1 week to for your music.
812 is the target to the downside if we do catch that. But this line in the sand there was real. I mean, that liquidity zone from yesterday, same spot where I got long and then took profit, is exactly where we got that action again and then went back long. So let's see what goes on here. We did get a little bit of pop. I want to see another little whip up, and then I want this delta to continue to push down. And then that's an idea to take that quick, cheap, short if it does play along.
So Eddie, what happens if I'm in the kitchen, Eddie, and I'm making a sandwich? And I
Drop the sandwich. Drop the sandwich.
Down to this 12.
I love it. And I hear that ding ding, Eddie. What should I do? What should I do?
You got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Alright, stick that sandwich under your armpit and run as fast as you can. And fill out the form. Keep your speaker on.
Keep your speaker on. By the time I get to my
Not much to talk about here. I'm a little bit boring today. I'm down a little bit. A good bit more than I made yesterday. So not that I'm trying to make it back. I am. That's the game. However, I'm looking to catch that good setup here, right? We're looking for this divergence a bit. Can we wick this and then not quite make new highs on this? And then we get a tilty long where people are piling the longs here when they don't need to be, and then look to take that short back down to the low. of whippy, not really diverging. However, tilt is still not up there.
Then what do you have to check in every day, or how does it work?
In a future state, there may be so like today, it's gonna appear a few times. Rob?
That's exactly what I wanted to see. I just need to see this tilt. If I can get some longs involved, stop those longs out below. Yeah, so we're 60% long. If this pushes up again and it goes to like a 70 something percent long, then I would love to see it go short.
We're gonna see how it runs. You know, this is the first time we're doing this.
Longs are actually decreasing, which is interesting. 60%.
And of course, we love our people here.
Hmm.
We want to make sure we take care of this.
885.
There you have it.
Pretty important level there.
Yeah, I do need Danny update. Danny get a chance to update us on
This is still cheap.
if I check in each time.
It's just kind of grindy though. There, it's not anything that's telling me, oh, I want to reject this hard. So I want to see how much this is going to cost me if I take it short from here. 325. It's a bit much. I would like to take it from the high. So I want one more push. One more push to the upside. Give me that whipsaw action above that 92. Whip it. Whip it good. One more time.
Community. We're all a team.
Right?
It's got to get above it. It can't sit below it.
Some may argue the bell club is the most should be. I would.
So yes, you will hear the
I want that.
we use open
Didn't quite get above, but I want it.
calls and maybe some other exciting sound effects in the background. Just to wake your ass up.
Impatience, but I'm in. I've been late to a few of the ideas today, so let's see if we can get in earlier on this one. Flush 73, we'll go to break even. Actually, not break even. Yeah, quite. Break even. It's got a flush 73. Can't just tickle it.
Deep breath.
Gotta get through 73s.
How so?
Keep it on.
That's gonna stay there.
We're just gonna have a
Did not flush. Pushed down, grabbed some liquidity, probably gonna pop to the upside, stop me out. 3 in a row should be my stopping point. Unless I see something A plus to recover all the losses. So I don't call a break even a loss, or I'm talking full losses. 3 of them be done. So yeah, it wants to go above it and come back down.
I believe that 30-year bond auction, 12 o'clock high noon, they're sort of eating their pennies. Lunchtime, people have their
Get below 73 for me one time.
2021 high was 47.99.75. The year 20.
It's holding that 85 level. I don't like it. That sucks. Silly entry. If it works, good, but I mean, I really should have waited for this little kind of wick that's going to happen here and then see what happens. The 92s holding the bottom of that overnight low is what I wanted to see to continue the rotation to the bottom side, but these bottom halves are not playing along with me. They're just wicking and wicking and wicking and wicking and getting liquidity to push to the upside. Hopefully we can get one of these wicks to fail to the downside. It's not failing upside. And there's a little push. The delta's pushing up. This is going to tilt me out. and then come back down to the downside, because this is the kind of move that I really wanted right the first time to get my entry. Not quite there. That's gonna stop me out and then probably roll over if I had to guess. Or it's not gonna stop me out. There we go. All right, smooth move down a bunch. Alrighty. 3 for 3 in stupid trade losses. I mean, not stupid trade. This was that first trade should have been the winner, and that was that, but it was not. So we managed it poorly, and we are out. So we're down a bit.
No, I saw settlement. I just went back in my chart. I just zoom out.
Held at 85, and then it just kind of boosted up, right? That 73, once it kind of didn't play along with that, that should have been the key to being that long there. We did now clear out some of this. We're accepting back in the CPI range. So let's see what happens there if we can get back to VWAP. Pause. I'll be right back. Suck without coffee. Take that napkin.
I'll go on.
No, that's not your. You still sleeping?
What service did you buy on the train? Another two and then, okay?
I needed some caffeine. It wasn't coffee. It's matcha latte, but it'll do. All right, so we made a new delta high into that zone. That is a pretty key zone, right? We've said before the 92.6. Piss poor execution on those. Still got time to play. Taking a second to not be on the chart for a second. I don't want to find stuff that don't exist. This could be that failure though. A lot of times that's what happens, right? We'll have that breakout to a really key level. And then you get the rollover now. Because it shouldn't fail the bottom half of the overnight range again, right? 73 was the line in the sand. That would be a nice little spot to go and try it one more time. It should not fail that again, so I'm going to play that one more time. If it fails it now, that means that it really wants to go down. Those are a bigger player in there.
Still thinking about it. It might be something that we might want to look at as far as quantifying this.
Like an overlay now.
Yeah, like a visual, looking at the numbers.
Well, we could probably do that. Yeah, we could probably do that on top of.
Do we think it'll flush the lows? Maybe. I need to get back to the bottom of this range here. If it clears 73, then it should. I'm going to work on not moving my stop yet because that's been kind of screwing me over a bit. So 73 is the number it needs to hold below. If it holds below it, it's been speeding up. You could see that the volume is getting involved there. The delta is congruent. I don't see the tilt. I didn't care about the tilt there because I was focused on the short at the top. It's only 68% short, so it's not a full-blown tilt, hard tilt day. I'm up 2, so like I said, if it doesn't hold 73, I want to be out, but I think it should. Nope, it didn't, and I'm out. All right, so if there's that stop probably hunt. I probably will get the full retrace though. I'm trying to be patient on the stop, but that was, to me, that has to be the right play there. And if it holds, and if it fails 73, then that's where you get your liquidity for the long, right? but we did make a new delta low, and now we're pushing back up. So it's a very interesting
Those that are heading to reset,
run.
we are going to be adding a
73s, 73s.
code.
Too many executions on the day.
Drop
Not good. Although that last one was, I liked that. That was nice for me.
says you're using a closing bell. So be ready.
To see what would have happened if it would have got the full flush, right? It still may, but for me, I mean, I needed to put that stop above 73 and then let it do its thing, and it failed. So could get this to be, if that was just a liquidity grab, then you might get this full rotation back now. Not having a reason to flip flop is a bad idea, but at least having an idea of what's going on, you can make a better choice. Now we're stuck in this little range here. Is it gonna continue with that breakout, or is it gonna roll back over again? That's the question, right? We're gonna use these delta divergences. We're gonna use some of the tilt, and we're gonna do our best to see what we can get here. We're above those 2 key levels again, so this could be the actual move that we get, right? The first move, get some people involved, stop them out below the obvious stop, and then run them up. Or is it get them involved, stop them out, roll over, right? That's the idea here. What's gonna happen here? The bottom half of the CPI number is there. Could this be the real move here? We're starting to push down.
I'll buy your position off you, Jan, because I like it.
Starting to push down. What's the tilt looking like? It's looking a little short, slightly short, so we still might push up a bit.
I wanted to, I was looking at the other
All right.
Yes, Steve Oxman is with us. He's leading great stuff. Working very, very hard behind the scenes.
And I'm gonna flat here.
It looks like a short to me still.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Not trying to force it. I'm looking to catch this one more move down to the downside, but it is wicking this 85 on the 30.
I have to tell you.
It is an inside 30, but we are still far off from the close of this, so there's plenty of time for it to go. As far as fives are concerned, inside 5 possibly, but we're still pushing up pretty good right now on that. Volume's picking up, delta's pushing up higher, didn't make new highs, so that's also a sign that some divergence is occurring. Man, it's moving up. Can we get a second test of this with the wick without making a new delta high? Below VWAP, could that be our short that we look to really capitalize on? That's the question of this setup here, right? They are talking too much, so they're gonna get muted. Alrighty. Trying to be patient with this next one. I really would like to see that divergence again. I got it here. Could have capitalized on it. It was too tight with the stop. That's a good, review of that. Then I flipped short because I saw the delta trying to push. That was just a little bit of a FOMO deal. It is what it is. Stopped out this trade, break even, and this one stop out. This stop out, this break even. So we're in 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like to trade many more trades in a day, especially because I'm down. It's really just chasing. But we are getting a delta divergence here. We're trying to make that push to the upside. Not really getting that push up with the delta. We're going to push into this level. If we could wick the high, stay below the VWAP, look to roll over. The rotation back to the high of the day seems very unlikely from here, especially with the CPI number. But the markets do whatever they want, whenever they want. And you just got to kind of catch what you see, get in, get out, do what you got to do. The divergence is going to happen here? I don't think so. Come on. It really wants to fail the overnight low. Not quite there yet. Doing my best not to chase just to chase. Trying to make new highs. Didn't. Trying to make them there. Below the 85s. Could be a good entry here. But that's like a wick spot, right? That's where it's been grabbing some liquidity. So I want to see it push through 85 with a little gusto, and then maybe 73 again will get you that full breakdown. You can see it's just kind of grabbing here. Just like it did here, it was grabbing. Once I got that entry and it pushed down, and kind of just kept chapping back and coming back, this should have been at break even real quick, just because I know that I was looking for a flush of a really supportive level. You get that again, you flush it, it's support, and it pops back above. So this 73, this zone is obviously pretty important. We want to keep it in our eyes here. We're getting that pretty solid flush down now, but now I need to see if it's going to hold. 73, that's the breakdown. If 85 holds, possibly look for that to carry on to the upside. Just talking through what I see. There's another wick bottom, grabbing liquidity, trying to push back up. Grab liquidity, grab liquidity, grab liquidity, grab liquidity, pop. It's kind of what it did before this pop. But here we were flat and then popped. Here we're flat and we're kind of rolling over a bit in the delta. So it's a different type of liquidity grab. 61% short. So this definitely looking to try and grab some liquidity and maybe stop some people out first before it does its actual move. I want this tilt to be heavy long. Nothing doing for me. Down couple full losses here. This is just chop, not really getting any indication of a good entry here. For me, the S&Ps are in the middle of a range, level to level, and the NASDAQ is sitting on top of a level that could either rotate back through, down, although it did grab all that liquidity on the 30-minute prior, and then rotate back up. We do not hate this candle closing. Like if it just does this for 30 minutes and inside 30 and down would be beautiful. But I would like to catch the top end of that, like a little push up to VWAP, like I said. Not using VWAP as the entry, but as a confluence in this pushing up, wicking 926, and then rotating back down to the low. Let's see what's showing on our levels here. Right, we wick this one. If we come back to the value area low, 911, yesterday's value area high, that's a very big area of confluence there. I would like to push even a little higher and then rotate back down to the bottom of this and through. Yeah, 911 to 926 in that range. That's a short zone for me.
These are the ones that you kick yourself for waiting for that one extra layer of confluence and not taking. And this one, you get that, you take it, but you don't execute it with a good stop or a good area of entry, and you kind of force yourself out. So really, the entry could have been a lot better here. We would have definitely been out, likely up here by the low of the day, because I was looking to get a catch to a VWAP. But if I push to here, stop to there, yeah, we're looking at a good 1-to-1 ish, a little bit more than 1-to-1, 1.5-to-1 on that risk. Push up, grab some value area liquidity, and then continue the sell-off based on how trendy we've been all week. We trended up. It's not quite an inside day, but it is a breather for sure. I'm gonna eat something, maybe get some brain food in me. Morning, Charting Queen. Down a little bit on the day. More than a little, but we're going to make it back on a good execution, not on some FOMO trades here. First trade of the day I took down here looking for the divergence, got the divergence. I just got in one entry too early and had a tight stop when I should have been up entering right above 50 and having to stop at the low. I was trying to take that long off there. Then I got a little antsy, took a second one, got stopped out. And then we took this one, got stopped. Well done. Good job. Congratulations on passing 2 accounts. Awesome. That's really good. Top to the bottom. That's what I was looking for originally, and I didn't quite get there. I wanted to flush the overnight high or even 45, and I just didn't get that secondary confluence, so I didn't take the short, but that would have been good. What's up? I'm glad you guys stopped by and said what's up. I'm going to definitely work on executing a couple better trades today and see if I can make something back before I go to work. But I'm glad that you made your 2 accounts. Next step is to get your payouts. Pushing back down again. This break of 73 could be the actual break of 73, and I think I want to take this really right here actually, because I like the 73 level as a short. 73 on this rollover. I think once it breaks this time, it should have a nice flush. 73 has been the line in the sand for a while now, and I'm getting that level. There we go. There's a big push to the downside. Hopefully this time we can hold it and stay. Those first few times through, stopping people out, getting some liquidity and dropping. Let's see what we can get here. It's just still just grabbing liquidity and running back to the upside. We can't quite hold it. I need it to hold to the downside. Push down. Wow. It's just not wanting to hold it. Break down and hold below it. Break down. I'm going to try and do my best to hold this, not get shaken out. If I leave my stop in the appropriate places, I should be able to stay in this trade to at least a good target here. I want to flush the bottom of this. If we can get to the bottom of this zone here, this is a high liquidity area. So that's what I'm looking at. If you're a Top Step person, go over to Top Step TV and you can enter into their first of the bell to bell things, and you can work for your free resets. I'm still just trying my best to hold this trade, so I'll distract myself a little bit. I'm looking for this thing to go down through the bottom half here. I would love to flush the lows. Trying not to get whipped out, so I'm leaving my stop where it is. My problems have been in not allowing my stops to play out, but right now it looks like it wants to. Push to the downside of that 73s. 85s is really the high that I have been watching on the 30-minute. So above 85, it's probably a rocket ship, right? So on my 30-minute, you'll see it right here, 85s. That's a key level for the 30. I'm looking to try my best to keep that stop up there until we can get to the bottom. Not that I need to catch this whole entire trade. It would be great. I'd be very happy if I can get that flush down to 812 where I was yesterday. I would love to have some more trailing involved with it. If I could get back to the bottom here of this yellow box, I will try and get back to at least a break even, but it looks like it's trying to grab some liquidity down here and push up. So let's see what happens. Come on down. Okay, that was good. That's pushing now. Let's get this full push. I don't like these wicks reasonably. If it does push above 80, then I want to be out. So let's get this rotation down to the bottom of that zone, which we're getting. There we are. Close enough. That's the high volume area right there. You can see it's sticking out at 50. So if it decides that it wants to run right back up through, then I'm out, right? I can't expect to catch the full move if that happens. But if it flushes it, then we could possibly get this whole entire move down to this side. Right there, you see that little pop at the bottom half there? I want this to be at least covering my fees because I feel like that's where I'm going to end up getting my double bottom for the longer term people who are just going to start ripping it back up. But I want to flush the bottom here. If I could flush the bottom here, at least I could take back some of what I lost today. Flush the bottom, trail to the top of the candle. There's a peak below. It's a peak. It's not a flush. It's different. I want down to 840s. 840s will get down to that. And then start trailing at 10 points at a time. This is what happens to me sometimes when I'm looking to get back into wins. 850 was a key level on the 30, so it needs to flush that 850. That's the real, like I'm talking about a flush. I'm not talking about a little tickle down, dribble down through like it just did. We're getting delta to push down. The confluences are there. The 73 short was the right move. I just was early on it a lot earlier. This one probably would have been the right trade to hold, but look, it stops you out again. So I mean, really take that break even. That's fine. Get in it again when you're ready to get into it. This is a better volume for me. I want this down through 50. I'm going to get above 61 because there's a low volume node there. And if it flips through that low volume node, then it might rotate back up to the upside. So I want to secure some of my gains back, especially at 50. 50 is a huge level here. Line in the sand. If we could flush it, we could get back down to 12s like I expect. If we flush 12s, though, it could be down even into the 800 level. So I don't want to kind of get myself out if I don't have to. If we get down to 12, I will really get very tight with my stop, though. That's the one thing there, right? I need this to be pushing through the lows. You could see the wicks at the bottom has really like a lot of liquidity. That's where I went long before. Tilt's very, very heavy short, so people are piling into this short, which means to me I'm probably going to get whipped out. 850 line in the sand here. Let's see if we could hold it. Holding it. Pushing down still.
You never know. At this point, you could just get one big long flush down through all of it, or you can get the big pop above, and that's that. So I'm going to leave the 60, 75. It's probably going to wick me out there and then roll right over. But Daddy's got to secure some profits on this trade after all the other ones. Especially at this 50 level, being a buy zone before, it could definitely be a buy zone again in a day like today. Yeah, we're out. We're out. So I got back $200 on that one, which is good. I'll take it. See, now you're getting that push back up. I would love to have, got that bigger flush to push down to the lows. It just wasn't ready for it yet. All right, I'm glad about that. That idea there. Yeah, I made about 200 on that back there. Down 630. Looking to get back above for green for the week. I'm only down 47 for the week. Executing on good executions, not just chasing stuff, not just executing to execute. This is more of a battle day for me, a grind, because of not taking the appropriate entry at the top. That's the entry. That was the short. That's the play. What does it do the rest of the day? I have no idea. It's going to come up to 10 o'clock in 3 minutes. So see what kind of price action we get after 10. I'm one good trade away from making it all back and then some. Limit my risk. I'll be very happy. You're congruent on delta here, right? If you look at this here, and you look at this here, you get the same type of movement, right? Price went up. Price spiked, delta spiked, delta flattened out, price flattened out, delta sells off, doesn't make a new low, doesn't make a new low, right? Now, if you see the price come down to the 12 level and the delta still sits above this yellow line, there's your divergence, right? It's still not quite getting those buyers involved. And if you start to tickle back up, you get a heavy short. Like 12s is my original target, right? So that could be that next little wick up and catch the bounce for the long. But like I said, on the 30 minute, you could see the levels a little bit better. Put it over there. The 30 minute, you could see 850 and then 806. That was touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Came down to almost 8, 9 times. So that is a important point. So if we do flush the 50s and start to hold down below, I don't know how much the delta divergence is going to hold this up to that 806 level. That's why if I did keep that flush going, I moved that take profit down a little bit further because of the 30 minute and not because, right? A few winners. Well, one break even, one winner, a couple losers, and just still down a little bit. A good amount for the previous days, but nothing that I not come back from quite easily on a good execution, right? Just wait for the good executions. That 73 was perfect. It played out pretty much exactly as I wanted, down to the 50. We just didn't take the profits at 50s because we expected if it did flush the 50s, then you get that push down to at least a 12. It never gave that flush. It just tickled with it and played out. So that's not a reason to move my stop down there to trail it out. Just having that low volume node was a good reason to take out. We would still, if we were just break even, we probably would have just got ticked out of that. But, if we were above 73s, we'd still be in. I don't believe that this wants to push to highs, but if it does rotate, you know, that VWAP target's always a thing. Nothing now. It's gonna settle. It's 10 o'clock now. We're gonna get a little speed up in the. There we go. And the candles speeding up, speeding up, speeding up. You can see price action moving. Like I said, I still got to get my level 2s for this account, but you can see that price movement going a lot faster. Once the 10 o'clock hits, you get a little bit of either that last 30 minutes in English, British, whatever, Euro close or whatever that is. Something about this 10 o'clock hour really just gets certain things moving, and it could be the reason that we flushed the bottom here. Just because. Now, I'm not trading a break of this trend. I was just showing a divergence of price, right? So now price is starting to push back down. Delta's not quite there yet, and we're a little ways away from this low that was created during this piece here, the cluster of price action. If you do get another flush of the 50 and then you don't get anywhere near lower, that is another divergence, delta divergence of not breaking down when this price breaks down, like I said before. So if we get close to these lows and we start to push back up again, that could be the failed downside move push to the upside. But right now the delta is starting to get to that level again. It may look to break it. That was not a convincing break to the downside at all. I really want to see this thing pop to the VWAP from here. Give me a tilt. Give me a tilt. If we get a heavy short tilt on the micros, I don't know what it was on the full contracts here. If I can get a heavy short breakdown, delta's diverging pretty good here. We got a green delta, more buying here. I want to ride one. I'm gonna take that long. No, now it wants to go down. The delta of divergence to me says that this 50 level wants to hold. So that's where I'm at with this trade. Sitting above the 50, we're right at the 50, right below the 50 now. So we're dancing with this 50 level. The delta is pushing up. We've tried to make this low here. We never cracked the bottom half of that on the delta. The tilt was heavier short than longs. So am I gonna give this back here? Maybe, but I want to see what this will play out, because if I don't take it, it had pretty much every confluence that I needed for the reversion trade. Once again, right? Sort of a double bottom in a 5 minute. The 30 minutes holding that level. So it's just a slow grind here, and usually if it's going to crack a low bottom level, the bottom will fall out. It's not falling out of that 50, so I want to see people buying, and we're starting to get a little bit of buying involved. I want to see a good pop here. Usually, like I said, I want my move to happen, and happen kind of quick. Hasn't yet, but it's sitting there. It's thinking about it. So if we do get that pop up, I want to see what happens at 73. And then if we could get something through 73, then who knows how high we can go. Like I said, VWAP is always the target.
to start on these kind of rotational rangy trades off of the bottom or off the top. Just doesn't want to go. So I don't know, for this to not want to go there either is interesting. No pop, nothing. Not that I'm trying to pick a bottom, right? I'm not trying to pick a bottom. I'm trying to just catch a bit of a reversion back of where people would like to buy and get back to the VWAP, or really like overnight low is target 1, VWAP would be target 2, which would probably end up being in that 26 level. And that's where I wanted to short from, right? So that's a good reason to take profits. But now it's kind of really trying to push down. So, and Delta's trying to push down. Hasn't quite even come close to it though. So who knows? I'm going to let it play. Last time I didn't set the stop where it should have been. This time I did below the wick on the divergence. It is not doing what I want it to do at the moment that it was supposed to do it. So now it's the 30 minutes trying to, like, that 50 level is just being stubborn here. This is definitely a line in the sand. The bottom half of this zone. The market's, like I said, it's directional for the most part to the downside. We caught the flush of the 7-3. The 50 flush never happened. It's tried again here, but it's just fizzling. But the upside is fizzling as well. So if I don't get a pop here in the next minute or so, then I'm just going to either flatten it, or I'm obviously going to get stopped out because it's going to flush the bottom where we're at right now. It looks like it wants to. It's grabbing some liquidity. Bang, bang, boom. And we'll see what happens here. Could this be the one where it goes and runs up? No, it's still fading. So let's see what happens. We'll get back to the 50. Can we get above the 50? Talk to it. Try not to shake myself out. Not going to move my stop, even though it probably should be a little bit lower. However, I don't want to be losing a lot. More than I'm risking right now. 360 on this. There it goes. Now it's breaking to the downside a bit. The divergence is still there though. To me, now I said that, it's it flipped a little bit to the red side, and now it might want to push down, but we'll see what happens here. It's probably going to give me that next push down, which will be the real divergence, because that's the kind of day I've been, a little early or a little late. And then now it'll probably give me the move that I want, right? So we're out. Nope, we're still in. We're still in. We're still in. We're still in. We're still in by a tick, and we're out. Probably. Oh man, my stop is really at a key point, huh? Ooh, grab some liquidity. Boy, one tick away from getting stopped there. Possibly could be the actual line in the sand there. That could be the flush point. It's going to kind of run through it and then run back. But there's a lot of buyers at that point. Holding us up, holding us up, holding us up. Don't give up, buyers. Don't give up. Nope, they gave up. They gave up. Alrighty, I'm down good money today. Won almost 1,000. So we're going to kind of just slow it down now. No tilt on this. We're just kind of bleeding on these trades, and there you go. Right there's the stop run got me out, and now look, we're at, like, realistically this might just still grind down. Delete that, delete that. The delta divergence is gone, right? So now we're making new lows, or we're pushing to the lows, and now this is trying to push as well. So we're getting there. Just not reading it great today. I don't feel like tilty. I just don't feel like I'm getting my entries at the spots that I want them. Could we get it again here? Potentially. Like I said, that's where the price is creeping down, delta's creeping up. That's a divergence, right? Creeping down, creeping up. What pushes this lower? Do we... Can I get some water? Thank you. How much short tilt here? Tilty to the short side still. Sort of like a double bottom, but really, is it a double bottom or is it more of a just a rollover, slow grind to the downside? People trying to pick bottoms. Water bottle. Thank you. All right, let's see what we can get here. The point of control from 2 days ago is 829. I tried not to get in front of a falling sword. I did a couple times here. We're not really getting like a solid follow through. This would have been nice to hold. Would not have got stopped out yet. The flush of the 73 level. But like I said, none of this move through the 50 is convincing, and we're still pushing down. That was actually a pretty strong move there. Everything's selling now. Do we pile in, or do we get to that 12 level and we look for that flip? So we didn't make new lows on the delta here. We're making those new lows with a strong volume, high volume candle. Could this be the sell-off, or is this going to be the wick of the 806? We're looking at 806.50 down to about 801, so pretty much 800. Could you buy back through that? At the moment, look for a better setup on the delta divergence, because that's right now is the falling knife, right? Could have been short from where we were and had no issues, but you know, sometimes you don't do what you expect to do. 812, 815. So yesterday, this is where I took that long. We got that breakdown, and we did it again. We got a flush delta divergence, and then we ripped back to the upside. It's something similar to what we got to look for here if we do expect this to be a reversion, or if the CPI number is just going to keep dragging us down. Let's see, as far as our trading view levels, we do have a zone below that hasn't been super respected of late. It's an older level, but it is the base of the beginning of the rally. So that 780 level down here. 780, 786. So we are making that downside push. This is the flush I wanted from when we took this one, right? We took this short, we got to 50, something here like where we base down like this and then roll over. That would have been a healthier sell for me. This pullback, I just get shaken out, man. Silly. Get a little tight, you screw up a bit, you know? 776. 776 is from 230 on the 9th. That's that low of that little wick. tilt? Any tilt? NASDAQ tilt is, they're short from 817, 64%. They're in the money. There's no reason to be getting out for them. Although this is a key level for me. 776, 762. Man, for a person who is permanently a bear for every other day of the week, once they trick me into believing that there's some longs and the CPI data gets recovered, I mean, the short was clear as day and I didn't take it. So now we're trying to fight that mean reversion thought process of pulling back. How often yesterday did it pull back? Let's see. Right, we were above it. We pulled back above it. We pulled back towards the end of the day. I'm going to be off well before then. So let's see what happens here. Pushing back above with the delta. We could get one more little pop down. 806. If we accept above 806 or above 800, then we could look to rotate back up. But this is a very strong bar. Not much here that I would like, to be exact. I get myself in trouble blindly buying and selling levels that are key importance to me, but it has worked as far as every other day this week. And also, I mean, I didn't blindly, I used confluences, but these levels here played out pretty good. I didn't take those trades, so something to consider in the future. Delta pushing up, price trying to push back down again. 780, cheap short, maybe. Cheap long, I mean, with the flush of the 80s. So you can see this high volume node here, high volume node at 807, then all the volume back up on the upside. And where did I have the value area? Is still way up there. Point of control still all the way at the top of the day. Price has not allowed the point of control to flip or anything like that. All the volume was done up the top because of that CPI number. Can we push down one more time and then pop above that? Long above this. That was nice. Little pop there. I like that. If that's not the low, then it is what it is. I saw how that candle ripped off that bottom 76 level, and I'm hoping that we can get some more buying to come into play. Got to get to 812 for me to try and make a choice here. Get above 800 obviously is the key psychological number. Could we V-bottom this? Gonna try and be patient with this. These counter trend type trades, you have to be quick with them, but also kind of let them breathe a bit to get through the levels that you think that they could get through before you are super tight with the stop. I need to get above 800. If we can get above 800, then you could probably get some buying to get involved there. But if you see like a little whippy, sort of like that actually, it was sort of a little whippy for me. Potentially looking for sells through that, but maybe they'll just kind of keep running through it. I liked that level based on this candle here, based on the divergence, based on a lot of confluence factors there. I'm just going to trail it by candle now. Once we get through 812, there's a chance that we can return back to 840. If we clear 840, this is a long idea here. If you get through this kind of ignition candle, that means all those people are getting stopped out. So you could run back up again even further. So I'm going to try and be a little patient. If we can get through here, through this 812, which is a very key level, get through the 812, then we can push to see if we can push these highs.
these highs. It's not a high, but the high of that ignition candle to the downside. And remember, the 850 level was huge in the breakdown, right? It was using it as support, and we finally broke it, and we finally broke it with some gusto. But 840 really became the bottom half of that zone. 800 now, it's going to flush it. Hopefully we can push right back above the 8s. Damn, man, just not getting that follow through that I want, man. I really, just cost myself a few $100 on that, but still, it looks like the right move. It was obviously the right long. If you could take that long there to the 12, should I have taken the money on it? Probably, but if you break it, that's when you start to secure that profit and get that stuff. You're not going to be able to catch bigger pieces of the move if you're just going to keep grabbing it. But to battle back, I might have to just grab a couple 1-to-1, 2-to-1s. I'm not looking for like 10-to-1s all the time, but I'm looking for types of moves, types of rotations to come and play. So, I mean, a little win is a little win here. Could we get back down to 85? Wick this again, get a divergence, right? Because this was the low. If you can not break down and get that secondary touch and flush, then that's when you might get that next run up. Or else you could get that breakdown too. It's moving. 800. They stop people at below 8. Right? 806 was that bottom half. So we were trying to retest that 806, which we did. We wicked above it. Could we be pushing back down again? We need to see this be a strong delta candle as well for this to be a convincing long. Otherwise, it's probably pushing back down to be another leg of the short. People are longer than they are short at these levels. Could see another push down. If you can get heavy longs at the low, not a high delta not a congruence in the delta, then possibly looking to catch that reversion back up again. If I never moved my stop, right? If we left the stop at the bottom, you're risking 270. You're up 2-to-1, 3-to-1. Do you take your profits there? Do you trail your stop to even? Do you these are the things that you got to battle with every day on your strategies, and reasonably when you're like myself and you're trying to mitigate losses, and if I could take a pretty good amount of paper cuts and then catch one of these moves on the day where the full reversion happens, and it does kind of frequently, or if you catch something like this, you took a few paper cuts of where we're at, and then you take this one and there's nothing that told you to get out till probably around here, you make it all back and then some. So I'm not looking for home runs. I'm looking to catch the base hits and all that as well, but just trying to think the price action out and having a reason for why I break, why I take it off, why I put it on, all that. So this is an interesting little piece here, right? We're not going to get that same, we're getting a little bit of the delta divergence there. If you pop above the 812 again, and this doesn't make a solid set of delta new buyers coming in there, and then say the tilt gets long,
that could be another short opportunity to take it back down to the downside, right? Because Delta's not pushing up in the same fashion that the price is pushing up. So you're not getting people buying it on the market. You're not buying at these highs, and the people who are buying aren't the bigger player, strong hands. There's not a ton of volume there either, right? So you're trying to make new highs. You're not really, new highs on this leg up, but you're not getting the participants to get involved that you want. And it's heavier tilt at 62%. If you get that wick of 12, possibly look to get short and catch that next leg down to 62. I want this to wick it above, catch all those weak-handed longs, get a lot of weak-handed longs involved, and then rotate back down a bit below 806. So really, if you can get a wick above and catch the 805 down, which it seems like it's already going to happen now without it, right? That's that confluence that I'm talking about all the time. Looking for it to go up through that high of 812, then kind of fade back down and rotate to the 762-ish, or even back just down to the lows, because if you could catch that little piece from there to there, it's a decent win there. But if you do get that kind of divergence, most of the time those kind of moves push you a little further down to the other side, right? So if you get this pop here, same deal there, right? You were getting, let's see if I can find one. It was this one, right? The push down, low, wick it off, come back up, and then push. That was long that we were trying to take that I got wicked out on and started my negative day. Like you say, if you place the stops in the correct spots, then you don't get wicked out here. Right, instead of entering up here above, enter at the re-acceptance back into the zone, have the stop below the low, and then you will be fine instead of trying to chase it twice and take the same kind of loss anyway. So maybe sometimes take a little bit extra risk on the setup to let it play out and not tighten up and get wicked out a couple times before it actually going any direction and taking the same kind of loss you would have took or more. So that's where I'm at right now, thought wise. See, here's that delta divergence type play, right? We ran up. We were trying to push up, but all this is just simmering down, right? It's not like pushing down, but you're also not getting that strong pop to the upside on any of these candles. Even that one was just kind of weak. Reasonably, this would have probably been, I guess, the entry, but this could be it here too. But now you're starting to get a little bit of a green delta. Buyers are coming in. Longs are at 51% long. So slightly long, but I think if you do break above that high, you do get that the people who are entering trying to catch that next wave to the upside, that they may try to stop out and push back down to the downside. Try to catch the bottom pickers one more time. If the floor falls out from here, just don't have the risk to reward that I want. I mean, realistically, I would love to take that win there, but do I trust the conviction on it? Not yet, quite yet. Slow market type behavior doesn't lend itself for me to be enjoying shorts. My stream normally goes to 11. Today may go a little bit longer than till 11, but pretty much right around there. The Tuesdays and Wednesdays, sometimes it's longer, sometimes I get on in the afternoon. Still bugging out the Tradecaster, so if you do see the link in the YouTube stream, as well as at the very top
I don't think I pinned it, so I could add it here. Let's see if I can find it. Tradecaster link. I'm gonna share this stream. Copy that. And in the YouTube, you can click that link and it'll take you over to Tradecaster where I'll be trading on January 22nd. That's the opening day for a lot of the newer traders. I'm on there now, bugging things out and letting it, figure out how to trade on Tradecaster, setting up the chat and all that stuff. So go over there, check it out. It's going to give you a 7-day free trial if you've never been part of it before. Once that trial is up, you don't necessarily have to pay. You can get my stream for free. There we go. There's a little pop on that. Didn't make new lows. Is this the reverse delta versions, right, where we didn't make new lows and we get that second push now? And this is the actual push to the upside. Just check out Tradecaster. I'll be free for quite some time, so you can go over there, take a look. Once your trial runs out, you'll still be able to watch my stream over there. It's pretty interactive. It's got all the traders, and if you get bored of me, you can go look at anybody else over there who's still trading, making money, calling out good calls, and doing other things like equities, options, anything that you want. There's pretty much somebody that does it over there. So let's see what happens here on this price action, because I am interested at these levels for something to happen. My biases are telling me that this push lower may have lost its steam and that this wick down now, trying to get people involved to get them shorted involved, and then run back up like we did down here, because we just had this candle here move so quickly. It was so manipulative, right? It was grab some and go. There was a big order here or something that was looking to get filled and got filled. Let's see if it hits it again and we get another same type of reaction. You know that there's a bigger player there. I don't have the level 2s on this, like I said, so I can't see it on the DOM. But I would like to pay close attention to that spot. It's 50-50, 803 is the entry, average entry. So longs are feeling the pressure a bit, out of the money, if that's where they're at. Average price, both wise. Shorts are in the money. Give me one more wick down. See if we can't get some people involved to think that they're going to go short again. And then we could pop that up to the top. Or if we get the first move to be to the upside, potentially looking to fade it and get that next rotation to the downside. It's funny because I did look to short this here. I got stopped there. And then I did short it here and took a quick break-even type trade. Shorted 73. Got some of that move. Didn't catch all of it, obviously, because I got stopped out at the low volume node. And then it rotated back down and flushed to 50 like I expected. So the thought process is, the ideas behind all the trades were good. The execution and timing was slightly off. So it just kind of goes to show you that you can be pretty right and also wrong at the same time, right? Like, every idea that I've thrown out there has had some sort of play out in it. However, for me, execution-wise, it hasn't been perfect. And not like I said, like, I don't feel the FOMO today. I'm not chasing this here back and forth, back and forth. I am trying to take the entries that I do see. I'm taking appropriate sizing, so I'm not like totally drawn down, but like I have taken a decent loss on the ones that I have taken. I'm not mad at it. I'm happy with the thought processes behind all the trades. The only one I'm really kind of annoyed at is the second trade here. The idea of I was going to get the short there when I didn't get it. But it was really a key level, and once you get stopped out of that long, you're thinking, all right, maybe I got the direction wrong. It was a bit of a FOMO, that one. But really, it did have some semblance of a setup. Right now, we're kind of just sitting in this little lull, and we're kind of waiting and seeing what goes on with all the price action here.
on trades like this one here, when I'm at a okay buffer, or maybe I have the day where I'm not in drawdown or whatever, or my account size is a little bit bigger than it is at the moment. Obviously, I'm in drawdown now from today, but this entry I would have liked to have taken like a 2 contract entry here, and then this is how you would play this level appropriately with more than 1 contract, right? If I took the short through 73, as far as a momentum play is concerned, I could set a first take profit at my obvious zone where there might be action, right? So there's that. You take one off there. As it returns back to your level, if you get a secondary entry criteria, you can re-enter that 1 contract and see if you can catch the rest of the move down with it. But at the same time, if you get that action here and you say, okay, I want to take it off again, now you just doubled. You basically took your full position. You took it all off here, and you still have 1 on for a runner, which would have played out really nicely, right? Because you're able to leave your stop where it belongs, as opposed to being smaller sized, trying to take that 1 lot and not be able to work the trade and work the size of it, right? So when you're at the smaller sizes, trying to work off levels and then execute and shed and add and shed and add and kind of make money within that trade and manage that trade, that's how you make, I feel, more consistent profits on each and every trade every single time. With the 1 contract, I get a little tight. I trail it within certain rule sets. When I get to certain structure levels, obviously you get reaction off of them and you tend to get stopped out, right? Same with this. With the 1 contract, I didn't think, that's a bit wide of a range for my stop for 2 contracts, right? But if you do have that kind of idea, you're looking to get 1 off, maybe right here at 73, since it was a pretty important level in the past, and then let that second one ride out. And if you get that pullback and another criteria to enter again, you could re-enter that 1 trade, and you're never adding anything to your risk, right? And then obviously it played out where you could have trailed that second one up and maybe caught a little bit more of that move. Not necessarily all of it, but once you get up to that key level, maybe trail it up into there, and you can catch an extra, a couple $100 on that that kind of move. So that's what we're looking for with multiple entries, multiple contracts. That's what you're looking at. With 1 contract, you're really kind of just looking to catch the move, catch the bottom, catch the top, and then if you're gonna have a shorter target or a longer target, and you're just gonna let it ride, and it just depends on your trading style and your plan. Right now we're kind of stuck in some chop here, so I don't have an exact plan for this anymore, as this is just flattened out. The delta flattened out, the price action flattened out. We're gonna wait and see if it does break in either direction, what that looks like, what that candle looks like. If it speeds up, slows down, is it a liquidity grab in that direction? And are we going to try and take it to the other way and run some stops the other direction before actually moving that way? Or is it just going to be the full move? Really, this is kind of how I think out every trade. Being in drawdown for a bit kind of makes you a little tighter. Normally, if I'm not streaming, the past, I've been trying to be better about it, which is today I have been on trying not to revenge out. Like this move here, I was talking about it up here. I didn't get that last little move to get my entry, and it fell out of bed. And then maybe down here, with that entry, it was the right call, but just wrong execution, wrong timing. And, once you miss this, after you've already missed that big move where you would have made your day on 1 trade, then you're kind of battling the rest of the day back. So 47.48. Deck sneaking in with a little bit of the SPX. So he has the similar idea as far as on the equity side. The SPX calls coming back into play. Let's see what happens with that. Not quite the SPY. SPX. Interesting call. We're sitting at that key level again, right? In my trading view here, 78, 79. That's where I was talking about there being potential buyers. So we're going to wait and see. We did get that little bit of wick. We didn't. Yeah, you know what? There's that long again. We're going to go for it. We're going to risk to the bottom of that candle. And we're going to let it play. I'm going to take a piss, and I'm not going to move my stop. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I'm back. The reasoning behind this trade here, we're back to that level. We got the wick down. We didn't quite make the second delta low. It's not that it's tilty that I noticed. I didn't take a look at that. The S&P's is actually short a little bit more, so I'm guessing the NASDAQ is also a little bit short at this level. I like to see these false breakdowns be retracement, especially in these kind of days. But now you can see the delta is trying to push down again, back down to that 72 level. If we could break above it again without adding risk to my trade, you might add a contract above here, take off one at 12. I could show you how that works if I don't get stopped out. Right, adding to a winner, making this an educated reasoning, right? Take profit at the 12s or just before it. Secure some of those profits if it does go back in my direction. Not adding down here and cost averaging, which is possible too, but I'm adding to my, not quite adding to my risk here. Because I am still risking the same dollar amount per se. You know, as I get closer to my stop, I'm still leaving my stop there. I'm not adding a deeper stop. So if I get below 76 and back above, that could be the reason to get that there. But now we're actually pushing down. So my entry was probably a bit poor there. Fighting this trend is not helping me today. There you go. A little whip. Maybe that's a stop run there. Below 76. Secondary. Or it might be the actual move and the breakdown down. 62 is the next level that I have. So it could get there pretty easily. It is the NASDAQ, right? I don't want to add to a loser. So I don't want to keep, especially the way I've been trading today. My ideas haven't really quite played out exactly as far as timing is concerned. I don't want to add to this now, right? I mean, maybe right this second, but that's just going to look to stop me out, right? We're just going to keep pushing down today. I'm all but done trading for the day, down 1,200. So that's just an example of how trying to catch bottoms on trending days or tops on trending days will get you in trouble, right? It's just really how it all goes down. Down 715 for the week. Not too happy about that. Just not getting the follow through on the pullbacks on the rotations back. So it is definitely a trend down day, obviously, right? So what I should have been doing is looking for shorts, and I have a hard time doing that apparently on this type of day. I'm a range bound day I make a lot of my money on those days. Trending days, I have a hard time continuing to buy or continuing to sell at lows and at highs. But it's just a game of odds. So right now we're just working on being better with execution, being better with timing, and we're going to go from there. We'll be good. This is that, look at that delta, right? We flushed 62. Now there is a chance that this does come back up into the 88s. And then if it accepts back above the 88s, gotta look for that 800. There's that push. Do we hold it? What's the tilt on here? Is it short? It's 52% short. Above the 80s. Right, we got stopped there, but realistically, we can get back above here. We could look to get that actual rotation that we were looking for before. That low volume, though. We don't want to be stuck on the volume. We want to be entering above the volume. I'll take this one more time. And I'm going to keep my stop at the same place I had it before, below 770. And I will show you that there's that whip. So if that's a stop run, it could possibly be a good stop run, or it could be signs of the price going to accept now back above. So it's a free trade for me. I'm going to let it run. I could have thought about adding at that point there, that where it's at now, but I'm not going to because of the way price action has been treating me today. I would love to get this to rotate back above the 806, 812, but based on price action, it's just been kind of shitty for me. I'm not adding. I'm just going to let it sit, let it play. It's a free trade. If I can work on my patience with the holds, then possibly I can work myself out of a hole and be better off, right? So 806, we got to get above 806 is the whole, that's the last line in the sand prior, right? 800 obviously is a key psychological level, but this here is 804, 805, 806, right? That's the 806 level. You get above that, then it's 812 and beyond. And if this plays out, right, that's why you can take paper cuts, and then make back your day in one trade. If it doesn't play out, it's a free trade. I have no risk on it anymore. But there's nothing for me to panic about. Just kind of get in. And you can tell why I got in, right? We flushed those lows. This clearly looks like a stop run if it returns back that quickly with that much force. Does it roll back over? Possibly, right? It could get more involved there. It could be just trying to stop the people out that just got in and get them out and get them back down. But especially with that whippy candle first, which stops me being run. But who knows as far as where it goes from here. Now that it has reaccepted back in, this, not that I'm saying it's the bottom. We could rotate lower the rest of the day. This just could be the next step to the upside where shorts would get involved later on, right? So now, since that happened, I'm going to move my stop below that candle there and let this thing play out above 812 or above 806. That was that one level that I was looking at. That was a key point. If we get above 812, I'm going to start to trail it to the 806s. We're above 812. I'm going to trail it below the 806s. So I'm at 802.75 with my stop. This really should lead to some more buying come in, or that's a good sell point for a lot of other the people who have been short all day, right? Because that's like a stop run there for people who got short. So there we go. I took back a lot of my loss there. That was good. Back down to 890. Alrighty, that was from 1200 to 890. That's a 500. There's a little bit more than 1200 loss. So I was down 7 and change, 730. So yeah, 400 and change. That trade there. Let's see. Trades. 395. So yeah, 395 with that. We're one trade away, just like that one there, to, you know, getting back to break even for the week. You know, all we could ask for is to be green for a week, a month, a year. And like I said, the reason I took that tighter above 812 is because 812 is running a stops for people who got short here, right? If you got short at 76, the obvious stop is above 812 for longer term people. Stop them out. There's liquidity there. And then continue your rollover. But, you know, that's not necessarily even what they're going to do. They could just grab some stops, try and get some longs involved, stop them out, grab some liquidity, and keep moving further higher. So if we do get another break of 812, right, we get like a nice little U shape here and a breakout, then I can expect another break and possibly look to get that long there. So, you know, P&L swings are moving around here. I'm obviously still in drawdown, still not happy exactly where I'm at, but taking that trade and executing, even though, you know, everything lined up to what I want. And there's days that I can be like, I'm not taking that trade because, and then that's the one that plays out, right? So you got to kind of still execute your plan, even if you're a little bit into the drawdown that for that day. You don't want to go max loss on a day, so realistically, this probably would have been the very, very last trade of the day if I would have lost it. Now we're going to try and find one more pretty good A+, and that's that. You know, we do have 8 minutes or so left in the stream. I might stream a little bit longer today. I do got work at some point. I got to get showered and ready to go. So that's why most days it's 8 to 11, 8:30 to 11. Today was 8:20. 8:15. I had a pretty shitty sleep, so kind of talking through that early on in the session. Those types of things that are normal routines are when they get broken a bit, then some of your decision making may get affected. I mean, realistically, I don't think I was affected too much as far as that's concerned. My focus was there. My executions were talked out, and there was reasons behind the trades. You're gonna lose trades. You're going to go into drawdown sometimes, and it's just a matter of not going back on tilt, not trying to get all that money back in one trade. Although if I did take profits on the last one prior as well, I'd be pretty close to back to break even. But I'm not looking for the home run. I'm just looking for a move to play out and have a plan to execute on every single time. Doesn't matter if I'm trying to get money back or if I'm trying to make the most. Like, every trade is his own animal, right? Delta divergence, again, same level. Could we re-enter here? Possibly. It's just based on the way this day is going. This possibly could follow through to the downside. It's 93% long. There's no way. NQ. 792.04. Short interest is 40%. 60%. Nope, now just flipped to 55 long. If you get this to be flipped to be like 70% short at these levels with this divergence and this price level, then to do that again, the same kind of move we just did would make sense. But right now we're not like we did. We entered these people in, we stopped them out, and now we're back to their entry again to see what'll happen from there. Delta's pushing down. See if we can get anything on this in the next 5 minutes. I'm not looking to force anything in, but the prices kind of slowed down at this level again. We didn't get any follow through to the downside. Divergence on the delta a bit, right? A higher low here. I mean, it's the same, but it's diverging as far as how deep it got. And then the tilt, I don't have anything yet. I want a little bit like this where it flushes, and then pops back above, and then I'll take the long again. I feel like the sellers are kind of getting tired here at this level. We're in that range from January 8th. The bottom end of that is 771. The top end of it is 812. 776 to 812, right? That's that little tight little range before a sell-off overnight and then a rally on the open on the 9th. Alrighty. Breaking back through the lows of that 76. I mean, I think we need to take one more shot this long. Dekmar crushing it. Another $1,000 day over there for him. He's doing pretty well this year. Up until today, I've been executing pretty good. Dekmar man is a beast of his own. There's a ton of preparation. He's huge into alerts. He's the equities guy over here, man. He's very good at what he does. He's got a lot of energy. So if you ever want to go over there and check out his stream, do it. He does offer YouTube free streams sometimes. So if you want to test him out, go check it out. Another $1,300 day. There's just not a lot of conviction in any of these moves here. I do like range. It helps me take profits and take entries. Fading. Price is rising, flattening out. Delta's flattening. Buyers willing to buy higher, buyers willing to be higher, and you just got one seller here, but nobody's selling at 76 at the moment, really. Just not tons of pressure there. So the idea of that this possibly pops from here is, the odds are it's more likely that it's going to do that than come back down, but it doesn't have to do anything. I want one more I want to catch some of these guys down here. It's 66% long. It's odd when it's tilty long at a bottom, because it does tell me that it probably wants to flush one more time at least, like here, one more time. We'll see what happens though. All right. Normally every day be done right now, 11 o'clock. I'm kind of just waiting to see what this price action does at this level here. We got a little entry possibly coming up here. You got push down in the delta. We did get a push, but I want to kind of play this one more time. Same entry, same stop, and look for similar targets. If we can get that push above these levels here, I think maybe we can get that pop off quick to break even again, and then look to just kind of trail it out. When we're stuck in a range like this and it's kind of quiet, the quiet markets of late have just been running to the upside more so than the downside. If this doesn't trigger me, then I'm cool with that. That's fine with me. No entry, no loss, no win. It's all good. looking to enter above 70, above the 80s, but the hold is 76, right? There's the push. It looks like it had a little bit of volume there. Is it a stop run to fall off, or is it going to be the move to the upside this time for real? If we could break that previous high there, this candle 86, then maybe then we'll get that convicted move to the upside. But right now, it might be just playing with me. Get all the way through 800. Shooting our shots here, right? Trader's going to trade. If this does get that pop and push and we can get to that 812 level, which it doesn't, it looks kind of like it wants to roll back over, doesn't it? Those downside grabs of liquidity, they're a little bit stronger, right? However, the delta was it's flickering. It's playing with me. That 76 is huge right now. If we flush here, we flush here. That's just, it is what it is, right? But if we can get to the 812, I really feel like this zone back here, it's still the value area up there. It hasn't really flipped down to the downside yet, which is interesting to me. I mean, I guess it's the CPI number and the volume that was occurring up there, but we've been down here for a while now, and the value area is still up above us, so I don't think the price likes to stay out of value too long. I mean, trending days are trending days. They do what they do. But we're looking to catch this one more time back to the 12s, right? With 806, it's 800, 806, 812, and then if you could break 812, there is this room here. When you're up 1-to-1, when you're down like this, you're gonna go to break even. That's just how I am. 1-to-1 on my losses, right? I am now in a free trade. If it goes where I want it to go, how it should move potentially, right? If it's gonna be convicted move to the upside, if there's gonna be buyers coming in on this trade, it'll go and it shouldn't come back to my entry. If it comes back to my entry, then there's a good chance that we're going to roll totally over and go back to the lows, and I would have been stopped out anyway. So why give back anything on top of what I already, right, was willing to risk? So now I'm just risking my gains here. We're in a trade, right? We're taking trades at the very end of our stream here. We're looking to get some follow through this time through the 812. If we could pop the 812, 1, 2, 3 times, the fourth time, if you're going to try and hit that level again, there's a good chance that that's the time that level breaks. The more times you touch a level, the less liquidity seems to be there, right? You're taking orders out. You're taking orders out. You're taking orders out. And sometimes people are like, I don't feel like playing this level anymore, and they're out of the market. They're done. Or they made their money that day. They got their fills. They're not going to be there anymore. That wall might not be there. So price will go where it wants to go with the least amount of resistance, right? It's going to try and go and get somewhere where it wants to be without trying to battle it, right? If it's going to bleed right through it, like how this was, probably lower liquidity, right? See all this? Lower volume, lower volume. It doesn't like to leave low volume nodes. So if it gets through into a low volume node, you could expect a rotation back to a higher volume area, like we did here. We tipped into it and we said, nah, and there's sellers here. Let's get back to where all the volume is, where people are willing to trade. And that's where they're at, right? People are willing to trade in these volume areas. We're at 800. And that's the reason I'm not moving my stop yet. I need to see 800 break to the upside if I want to move my stop below this volume node here at 93. Just because there's some always, at those psychological levels, there's buyers, sellers. If it rolls over and stops me off of that, that's fine. That's on me. I do believe that if we can get that good break above 800, then you should be able to get to 812. But if you can't break 800, that means sellers have come in. You see, you get that seller there. That's not a conviction yet. You know, it's starting to push down kind of hard. Not trying to get whipped out, but the S&Ps are at a key level at 81. They need to hold that and break above it for me to also keep the confluence with the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ needs to get back over 806. So S&Ps need to hold their line in the sand, which is absolutely now rolling over, right? There's that little bit of a selling, but these are the bottom wicks of those candles. So we're still in break-even territory, up $10 on the trade. We were up 300, and we're going to get stopped out likely. But, I mean, look at these moves. Like, you can't tell me that you're looking to get out of that trade yet, right? At 800, that could have been your target because it is a key psychological level, but we wanted to stay in. And we were one tick away from getting stopped, but we were below the liquidity here. So if we can break above this 800 now, that's convincing to me, right? Because we held the bottom of this liquidity zone. If we can't get there, I mean, then I probably should move up my stops at this point and secure some of that, because that's where that likes to hold. 90s apparently. It held the 90s. I secured a little bit more now because we took out some of those orders below. And my thought process is, if it does decide to break down below that body, it's probably going to stop me out anyway at the break-even point. So might as well secure a couple hundred or $100 or whatever I have there. It's not based on the money. Dollar amount is based on the structure of the candles. So we're looking for this to do its thing and break above the 800 psychological number. We're at that volume node, so it needs to break this volume node, get to 800. We broke the volume node. We're kind of whipping around a little bit, talking it out as it's happening. Let's get above it. We need to break 800. The S&Ps just broke 81, so now it's up into the 82s. That should help us push the 800s on the NASDAQ. It seems like the S&Ps have been pushing a little bit earlier, right? Like I said, today they were leading to the downside, and now our value area just flipped. Point of control is exactly where we're at, so hopefully we can find some buyers above the point of control. We just flipped to the bottom half of this now, so that means price has spent more of time during the day. Like I was just mentioning before, it hasn't flipped yet, and it just flipped to the bottom half. So we can see if we can get a rotation to the other side of the value area, which is way up there. I'm not going to be patient enough to get all the way up there. I know myself. I'm not the best at holding those, but we're at that 800 now. So if we break 800, we should be able to get up into the 812s. And once we get to the 812s, my stop's going to 799. That's just my trail rules at this point. Look at that volume candle there, that volume profile. That's a volume node. We need to get above 812. That's all that low volume, and then we should be able to get back to 840 if we do crack it. So we're holding above 801. S&Ps are holding above 781. That's a good confluence there. The delta is starting to push higher, which is nice. If we can get the break of the delta to the upside, we should be good. 806 was that also that big line in the sand as well. So my stop is going to be below the value area point of control, the volume point of control. I'm back to green on the week, but like I said, that's only with unrealized profits. If we roll over now, I will still be negative, but we're still looking to catch this move. And if it does play out as I hypothesized, right? If you can hold the 800, we need to hold above it. It needs to stay above 800 and push above 806. Those three lines, 806, 800, and 812. Those are the three levels that really need to hold for it to continue to the upside. We probably shouldn't have the point of control as the stop right now, but I'm being kind of risk averse here and trying to hold my money, because if 800 does whip down, then you're going to probably catch those as the stops. all the way down to my stop. So I usually justify my stop move by if it flushes where I put it, it's probably going to get to where I was at anyway. So we're approaching that 806 number. Could have been a good target, like if you have multiple contracts on, right? 806, 812, those are the targets. But we're looking at that right now. We wanted to push this up all the way. Dekmar's indicating that he's looking for an SPX breakout, which is the indices on the equity side, the SPX. So if he gets that breakout, that should be added confidence to my trade idea, right? So if it's me looking at it, he's looking at it, all of us are looking at it. We just broke 806. If we could break 812, then I'm going to stay below 9,798. 806 needs to hold, then 812. Then if you get above 812, that is when you get that big pop to 840, 850, and that'll make your day a whole of a lot better. Making back most of what I lost on the day on the last trade of the day is huge for me. It's a big confidence builder. It shows you why you should always, I took a good amount of losses here and I built up a drawdown. However, I didn't get myself to a point where I could not trade any further, right? Moving the stop to 805 because I don't want it to come back below 806. And if it's going to hold 812 and break out and be in that low liquidity zone, then it should never come back, right? It shouldn't come back to 806. Just set yourself up for a trade that when you do make your good trade, you still have the buying power, you still have the opportunity to catch the moves that you're looking at. And it's never over, right? As long as you have buying power, as long as you have a good strategy or you're not on tilt. If I would have went on tilt today, you would have seen it, and I would have been down $2,000 pretty quick and out and not able to trade anymore for the rest of the day. So I'm pretty happy with getting this. I'm hoping that it continues. Hold on a second. Got to answer a message. Mike. Get up there. I gotta pee again. Jeez. So much water. CJ. Text. I know they partnered. So here we are. This is where we're at. I think that 812 is huge. I think this is like I said, the low liquidity above here, this big flush down should get recovered because it was on such low volume. Price searches for high volume nodes. I want to get that rotation back to the 40s, back to the 50s. I probably will trail if we can get into this 820 zone. I'm going to trail the 812 and then like right here. I'm not going to give that all back. Why would I not secure my initial target? I'm going to bring it below this candle though, because I don't want to get wicked off of this. That's not a big difference. It's 10 points, right? See, there's that push all the way back down. The 20s, they love to get filled. And there it is. I'm out. That is exactly what I wanted to do to end my day. Yes, I'm still down on the day, 340, but I'm up for the week on $221. I'm going to end the stream on that note there because I'm moving into getting ready to go to work. My stream normally ends at 11, 11:30, 11:15, so right about now. This trade, like I said, I walk you through it. We were getting the divergence on the delta. There was a tilt bias down here that started to get a little short. We just weren't having any conviction, right? Like you get all these buyers coming in, they're still coming, but the sellers are just less convicted at this level. Like right here when it broke, you got a good sell and a return. That to me was the stop run. This was getting liquidity from all these levels to push it to the upside.
Do I believe this still has room to go? Yes, I do. But due to my trailing rules and my thoughts of the 20s, like we got right to 820. A lot of times, for some reason, price likes to reject the 20s. I'm trying to secure as much as I can to get some money back. So we get our entry here. We pushed above. We left our stop below. As we got to the key levels in our trade, we trailed it. I moved it up to break even. I was 1 tick or 2 ticks away from getting stopped out, but it was below this liquidity zone here. So the buyers came in, bought it back up. So that kept the conviction in the trade. Right now, we're just basing out with our delta. So at the 812 level, it's a battleground again, like I said. So is it the time that it goes and breaks through? Probably 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why we were going to trail it to here, because if it does come back and roll over, that's the idea. But I do feel like we could get a rotation back up to that 850 just due to liquidity and the volume area nodes. So I'll take that. That last trade was for 550. So the back-to-back winners, 550 and 395 after taking, some heat. We made some full loss, a little more than a full loss, basically a break even. Then we did 1-to-1, 205, took another full loss, more than a full loss, 2 in a row. Then we took another win, loss, small wins, loss. Then we recovered that loss and we recovered the next one. So we're on a slight winning streak, 2 in a row. Could look for another trade, but right now we're stuck in this range. There's not much I'm going to do within the next hour or so. So I'm going to sign off now. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm glad we were able to get that last one in there. Yeah, we're down on the day, but we're up for the week. So we're only down 1 trade. So realistically, 1 more good trade gets us out of the hole tomorrow or Monday or whenever we decide to take that next trade. Like I said, I have work today, so I can't be trading that 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock session where I would catch another trade. Possibly I could, but really it would be a tight squeeze. So if I do end up taking a trade, it's because I hopped back in here and I was doing something else and I saw a setup opportunity, but I probably won't be streaming it. I will update it tomorrow if I do, but I'm going to guarantee that I'm pretty much done for the day. So I appreciate you guys coming. Check out Tradecaster, subscribe, like, do all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow morning at 8:30ish. And hopefully we'll have some coffee. We'll have a good night's sleep and we'll be able to crush a good Friday. So until then, later.